Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the DVC show. Coming up, we're going to talk about Disney beginning to buy back contracts with their right of first refusal. Coming up next. Welcome to the show, folks, coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined via Skype this week by my good friends from the DVC store, Mr. Jerry Saito.
Hello, everybody.
And that's not Jerry Saito, that's Paul Krieger, who's also joining us. And back in the nook, our producer, Mr. Corey Fiasconaro.
Welcome home.
And just a reminder, folks, if you are thinking about joining DVC, or if you're a DVC member thinking about selling your contract, maybe upgrading to something different or something more, give our friends over at the DVC store a call at 1-800-550-6493 or visit them online, dvcstore.com. Also, be sure to head over and check out our awesome DVC blog, dvcfan.com, and also our Facebook group, DVC Fan. Lots of great information and community. We've got over 12,000 now in that group. Right, Paul?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a hopping group and a very friendly group. Not all DVC Facebook groups apparently can say that, because we hear that all the time, that we're a very friendly group. So be sure to head over and check that out. Okay, so this past week, well, it'll be 2 weeks from when this goes up, because this one will go up next Monday, Fiasco. Disney started buying back contracts. Now, we had been talking about how Disney had stopped exercising their right of first refusal. The contracts were sailing through. And last week, Jerry, apparently that stopped and they started buying back with a vengeance. Talk about what you saw or what you're seeing.
Well, what's interesting is I got a phone call I was actually off that day. I got a phone call first thing in the morning from another broker, and he said, I just had 10 buybacks for DVC that are processing. And I said, oh, that's interesting. So I immediately called the office to check and see what was going on, and immediately found out we had 6 buybacks. So once I got the information, I posted it up on Facebook DVC fan page, and just kind of waited to see what else was going to come in. We ended up with 6. Don't really know if Disney's going to continue with those buybacks. I'm assuming they are. But anyway, we had 6 of them come in. 2 of them were Saratoga, 3 of them were Saratoga Springs, 2 were Old Key West, and 1 was a Grand Floridian.
And that Grand Floridian one, I remember looking at it going, okay, well, that was really low. I mean, that was a low price.
Yeah.
In particular. But so that was that one day. Have they continued? Has that been continuing?
We haven't seen any buybacks since the 7th. It was on August 7th that they stepped in and bought 6 from us and 10 from the other broker that I heard from. But again, that's just there are other brokers out there that they might have had more, and I don't know about their stats. But again, I do expect we'll probably see some more buybacks. It's a regular thing for Disney to do. I mean, usually it's less than 15% of what's sold is bought back. So 85% of the sales go through, 15% or less get bought back. So if they go back to their normal processing, we'll probably see some more buybacks. And, during the COVID break, if you want to call it that, where their cast members were furloughed, they were just processing contracts through. We didn't see a lot of buybacks at all. Actually, we didn't see any, from March 30th up until last Friday, which was the 7th of August. That's when we started that's when they bought the 6. So we'll see if they go back to their regular, buyback schedule, so to speak, or if they're just if that was more of a tester to just say, hey, we're still here. Don't think you can get away with these really low prices, or hey, we're keeping you on your toes kind of thing.
That's what I'm wondering, is that, it's kind of odd for like this mass buyback to happen like on a Monday. And then nothing, right? And then we hear nothing for the rest of the week. So is that just a shot across everybody's bow? Did Disney stop taking their meds and they just had a manic episode? Or, is this, or is it now back to we're buying back. I mean, Paul, what do you think? What do you think this indicates?
So I posted this I talked to Jerry late last week when this occurred, and I posted over on DVC Fan sort of a couple thoughts that I had. If you've not been on property recently, the preview center is not occurring right now. Basically, if you want to tour a DVC villa, what they've done is they've isolated certain villas in every single DVC resort. And online, you can go and find the actual room numbers of these and then actually go into these villas. And there's DVC guides there that'll tour the villa, talk to you about Disney Vacation Club and all of that kind of stuff. But when we were there, I found it extremely interesting that this was their tactic right now. They're showing you, say, a Grand Floridian Grand Villa, but then they're trying to sell you Riviera in certain instances. So when these buybacks occurred, my mind initially went to, are they trying to maybe change their sales tactic? Are they now going to capitalize a little bit on their ability to buy back a contract at $100 to $110 per point and then resell it at $180, $190 and make some cash that way? Are they now going to maybe look at diversifying their DVC portfolio? And that also goes along with what we're seeing with Riviera. I mean, we could argue, as I said in my article, we could argue till we're blue in the face whether or not Riviera is selling as expected, but I don't think it's selling as DVC expected it to. And so they're going to get creative to try to maybe find some more ways to bring in some revenue during this difficult time.
Well, I know I was talking to a friend who researches DVC sales, and he mentioned, I don't remember the exact number, but he mentioned that in July they virtually sold nothing at Riviera in comparison to normal. I don't remember the exact number. I want to say like they sold like 50,000 points in July, which was like nothing. So clearly nobody's buying direct, right? Nobody's buying that stuff direct. Now, are they going to try and compete with resale? You know, to your point, Paul, are they going to buy these back, mark them up the way they do, you know, throwing in the direct benefits and try and compete with resale in order to generate more revenue? I mean, Jerry, do you see any possibility of that happening?
Well, I absolutely agree with Paul's analysis of that. I think that's why they're opening up those preview rooms at those different properties, is because the appeal of the restriction at Riviera, the people that know about it are not attracted to Riviera because of that reason. So having the opportunity to potentially buy something else that's not restricted, and the people can go and review and see those villas and be a part of, like, actually touch and feel and have some type of emotional connection to the room. I think that's exactly what they're doing, is maybe having a different strategy to buy some back and then have an opportunity to resell other locations. So yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's exactly what they're doing. And, you know, as opposed to just admit you screwed up with these restrictions and back off from it. But, you know, I'll be honest, I haven't been shy on the show about talking about Terry Schultz, who's the senior vice president of Disney Vacation Club, and that I don't think her and her team did a great job in handling COVID and their response to it. I think most DVC members probably agree with that statement. But let's be honest, you know, the whole resale restriction thing, that was a Terry Schultz, that happened under her watch. So far, not impressed. Not impressed. And she doesn't seem to have the ability to say, okay, you know what? We seriously underestimated how strong people were going to feel about the resale restrictions with Riviera. And so, you know what? Rather than back off, because I'll tell you now, you drop those restrictions, you're going to watch sales at Riviera go through the roof. You're going to watch it go through the roof. I would have bought at Riviera at this point if not for those restrictions. So instead, you're going to try and rig, the system a bit, start buying stuff back. But there's also, I guess this kind of goes off topic a bit, but whatever. One of the big direct perks of buying for DVC is Moonlight Magic, right? Not the only one, but it's a big one. And, they've canceled Moonlight Magic for the rest of 2020. And who knows when they'll be able to do it again. Go ahead, Jerry.
And also the annual pass is like a totally different ballgame in terms of the way it's used. So the annual pass was a nice perk for DVC members. You can get a significant discount if you're going to get the annual pass. Well, right now, you have to make a reservation and you can't park hop, and it's difficult to even get certain parks. Like I've tried to get into Hollywood Studios, and I couldn't even get, as an annual pass holder, I can't even get until the middle part of September. So that changed, but a perk to DVC buying direct is that annual pass discount, and that's not even.
Well, you can't even buy an annual pass right now. Okay.
Oh, really?
Annual passes are not even for sale at this point in time. Now, again, I always like to do these shows where they're not so dated. This one's going to be dated about 5 minutes after it goes up. It is what it is. Sometimes we have to do that. But as of right now, we're recording this on August 10th, 2020. Annual passes are not for sale. There's no indication of when they will start selling them again. So two of the biggest, in the short term at least, two of the biggest perks, your annual pass discount and your Moonlight Magic, are pointless. Yeah. They're pointless. They're moot. And, I realize eventually they'll come back, right? At some point, Disney will resume selling annual passes. At some point, we will not be in the world of COVID. Although I do want to say that, the numbers are starting very slowly to get better here in Florida, which is thankful, but still not where it should be, but it's moving in the right direction at least. Eventually we'll be in a post-COVID world, and things will to some degree go back to normal. When that is and how that happens, I don't know, but people are going to make this purchase based on the reality now. They're going to say, why should I buy in? Why should I buy in if I'm not going to, who knows when annual passes will go back on sale? Who knows when they're going to start doing Moonlight Magic or other special events? So I don't know. Paul, what do you think?
Speaking of annual passes, I really think that when annual passes do go on sale, we see a price increase with those, and maybe gold passes, maybe see them go away. Bob Chapek made an interesting comment in relation to the Q3 earnings that recently came out, in which he was talking about how where they were seeing the majority of spending right now was out of state guests, so people actually traveling to Walt Disney World, which I would assume that a lot of those are Disney Vacation Club members. But it really is a shot across the bow, I think, to AP members. And I think that we're going to see another price increase there whenever we do see them go on sale, and that benefit for direct purchasers is even less than it was before.
Okay, yeah. Well, a couple things with that. This is the first show I'm doing in a couple of weeks. I took some time off. So I didn't get a chance to talk about this on a Tuesday show yet, but I wanted to, and I will now. First of all, Bob Chapek is an idiot. We've established that. Okay, Lex Luthor is a moron. Why this man is sitting in the chair he's in, I have no idea. Second of all, he's comparing an annual pass holder visit, like an individual visit, to somebody coming here for a 5 or 7 day vacation. You don't have to have an IQ far above 50 to understand that the value of your annual pass holders is not in the 1 day last week they were in the park. It's in the 60 days this year on a normal year that they'll be in the park, or the 100 days, and the meals they're going to buy, and the sodas they're going to buy, and the merchandise they're going to buy. There's a reason You have annual pass holder exclusives, okay? Because you don't do anything, Disney, where you're not making a buck. And you're always doing annual pass holder exclusives. Why? Because annual pass holders go and pay for that stuff. I have to catch myself. So, to sit there, and it was just so obvious. It's another stupid statement out of this jackass's mouth. Another stupid statement, like, when he was massively cutting back on entertainment in the parks. And he goes, I think our cast members are entertainers. Oh, shut up. You're an idiot. Ugh. So, yeah, I heard that. And I'm like, okay, there's another gem from the Bald Wonder. So I think you're absolutely right, Paul. I think that is a shot across the bow. I think we will see a significant price increase in annual pass holders and the price of annual passes. And it's going to have the same effect, especially right now, that it had the last time they did a significant increase in annual passes last year, I believe it was. And a lot of people just didn't renew. And Disney's got to watch. They've got to be careful because you know what? Universal's doing a really good job managing stuff right now. We're not hearing lots of drama coming out of Universal. And their annual pass prices are still pretty good. So I think you're going to start seeing a lot of locals not renewing their Disney annual pass. And there's no restrictions on going into Universal. I don't have to make a reservation there. And all the reports I'm hearing, people are social distancing, people are wearing their masks. The team members at Universal are doing a great job. The hotels are operating well. You know what? Disney's got to watch. They got to watch with the market share. They've got to watch. I mean, my God, we have gone so far off the reservation on this show. But I like discussions like this. Jerry, you want to chime in with anything?
Just in personal experience, my family, I've got, wife and a 5-year-old, so I'm buying 3 annual passes. And I'm in that same boat. Like, again, it's expensive. We get the gold pass, but there is a point of, is it worth that each year? And I've been an annual pass holder as long as I can remember, 20 plus years. So, I just think
you can only remember up to 20 years ago.
Well, I used to work for Disney, so I didn't need an annual pass back then. So
I'm just busting you.
But anyway, so I think that there is a price that they're going to price out, people, and they're going to. I agree, they're going to lose business, even though they can't see the picture in front of them. That these annual pass holders spend a lot of money. I mean, I can speak personally. I see my credit card bills coming in, my Disney Visa card, and I'm like, really? I spent that much at Disney this month? Like, that's crazy. So it's, I hope they don't shoot themselves in the foot with that, overpricing their pass.
Well, I guess we will find out. I'm sure that will come sooner rather than later. But I'm also interested to see, what the pattern is moving forward on right of first refusal. Like you said, previous to COVID, it was about a 15% buyback. We'll have to wait a couple of months to see what the buyback rate is. Are they just, doing bits and pieces here and there to make sure the prices don't go too low, or is this part of a larger strategy? That remains to be seen. So that is going to do it for our show for this week, folks. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with you again next Monday with another edition of the DVC Show. Have a great week, folks.